Hello, this is John Locke, and today I'm answering the question, what do you do, how do you diagnose a sudden drop in rankings? If all your rankings suddenly overnight tank, how do you diagnose it? What's the first thing that you look at? So let's define what a massive rankings drop is. This is different than the normal fluctuation in Google. So if you drop from number 3 to number 9, or if you drop from page 1 to page 2, that is not a massive drop for the terms of this discussion. We're talking about if you drop from page 2 to page 15. And we'll revisit that in just a second. But the very first thing that I'm going to do is go into Google Search Console and look for messages. Now, Google will usually send you messages if you've been hit with a manual penalty. Now, if you've dropped from page 2 to page 16 or something like that, that sounds more like a manual penalty than the normal fluctuation of rankings. So one thing that you would look at is messages for a manual penalty. See if there's anything else in there. If they're giving you messages about your content, like if you have no titles or no descriptions, or the content is too wide for the screen, tap targets are too small. These are the kind of messages that you normally get. Now, those wouldn't cause a massive drop. Something like a manual penalty would cause a massive drop. And those are kind of rare. They're usually applied by the Google web spam team. Somebody has to actually look at your site and determine that you were doing something nefarious and against the rules. So those are more rare than an algorithmic penalty. But let's look at those. The next thing that I'm going to look at is whether there's been a major Google update recently. So that would be a Google update that possibly has a name, or somebody's named it. Now, to understand, the Google engineers are in the office every single day, 7 days a week. They're making adjustments and changes to the algorithm. So it is getting updated every day, but some of these are more larger, sweeping algorithm changes. And in the past, they've had names like Penguin or Panda or Fred or Florida. But that's one thing that I would do, is check the news, the SEO news, see if there's been a major update that has happened recently. Does my site, or the site that I'm managing, fall into the parameters of what this might be affecting? The third thing I'm going to do from this is not freak out, though. If a bunch of SEO talking heads suddenly say, just wacky stuff like, oh, you need more, author boxes, or get with a Better Business Bureau, because that's EAT. That's expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. I'm not necessarily going to take that to heart, but I'm going to take a hard look at my actual site, my content, see if there's anything that could be against the rules. Now, with Google, if you're doing the work of creating content on a regular basis, improving your site, getting backlinks, earning backlinks, and building a brand, then you're going in the right direction. And most of the things that those types of activities entail are going to add to your expertise, your authority, your trustworthiness. They're not going to go against the rules. They're going to help shield you from any negative SEO attacks. They're going to help shield you from any major algorithm changes. Now, the last thing I would look at is maybe doing an experiment with one or more of my pages and seeing if some sort of change to it might affect where I'm ranking. Now, if you've dropped like 10 pages, that's not a good sign. So it's probably something more at work there. But if you've only dropped one page, then those sorts of things, the natural, normal rules of Google fluctuation would apply. And so you're going to do experiments to see if you can adjust it. Another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the competition that gained during a fluctuation. Then this would be more a normal fluctuation, not a big rankings drop. But I'm going to look at what competitors gained. What are they doing right that I'm doing wrong? Or maybe I'm not doing anything wrong. Maybe Google is just pushing them to see how they do. Now, this would be if I dropped from page 1 to page 2, if I drop from number 2 to number 8 or something like that, it could just be a shakeup in the algorithm. But if I dropped, like, from page 1 to page 10, then something else is at work there. So another thing I would look at is it possible that one of my competitors is doing a negative SEO attack? So as we've explained in the past, a negative SEO attack is probably not spammy links or pharma or porn or gambling links at this point. It's probably something closer to a DDoS attack, where people are hitting your server and trying to overload it and basically make it to where people can't get to your website. That seems to be a more effective negative SEO attack than just what we would call toxic links. So another thing that I would look at is, what can I do better, or what initiatives have I not taken with my site that I've been holding out on? Maybe it's time to go into those. Maybe it's time to add those pieces of content that I haven't done so far. Maybe it's time to look for that link that I haven't got so far. That could be another thing too. If you have a massive drop, if you have a 1 or 2 really high quality, high caliber links to your website, and then you drop out of it, or maybe you relaunched your site and you didn't do 301s correctly, and then you suffered a massive drop because you lost all your links inadvertently, that could be another reason why you're dropping out of the rankings. So definitely look at that. Make sure that your web company didn't botch the migration of your site. These are all things that you can look at to determine why your rankings are dropping. It could be a quality content type of thing where you need to pump up the quality, or the what's in your content. The pages that have ranked in the past, maybe they're slipping in rankings because other people have improved, and maybe it's just a matter of looking at what they've done and seeing how you can bring your pages up to that level, because your competitors don't stand still. They're trying to compete as well. So that could be a thing that's happening too, where your content needs to raise up to the level of everybody else's. Look and see the patterns of what Google is favoring, and that could be the answer. Now, if you dropped a whole ton, you could be suffering a manual penalty or something else like that. Or maybe it's time to just start doing SEO. It could be as simple as that. If you haven't done SEO in the past and your competitors are, and then you suffer a massive drop, it could just be because you haven't been doing SEO. It could just be that simple. I hope that gives you a lot of ideas. I've shared about 8 or 9 different ideas of what could cause a massive drop in rankings. So I hope that gives you a little bit of inspiration. My name's John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. We're here every single day posting tips for manufacturing companies so they can improve their SEO. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments below. Would love to answer it, and I would love to see you subscribe. That's all I've got for now. Peace.